Hello, people of YouTube. This is Gray's Guitars, and thank you for watching. So this is going to be kind of part 2 of the guitar setup video. I actually have to do some more work to the Epiphone Les Paul. As you can see, I already have most of the strings on. I actually strung this entire thing up and forgot to do the video. This is going to be the same thing for every single string. So I unstrung one of the strings. I'm going to restring it, show you how I do it. Fairly simple thing. Tools you may want to purchase for this is right here. This is just a Fender string winder. This also is good for acoustics too. I mean, you just turn it and it turns. It's a lot faster than tuning the keys, by your hand. And it's just easier, more convenient. There's electric ones too. I got my light on so I can actually see. My bed is kind of my workbench because I don't have an actual workbench. But it's very simple to do this. No major flaws or anything. It's pretty hard to mess this up unless you are doing it on a Floyd Rose, which I may or may not do a video on a Floyd Rose if I get another one, but probably not anytime in the future. So starting on this end, I'm going to just tip the guitar up. This is where your strings go. This is where the ball end of the string goes. I'll actually fish this back through a little bit. So this is the ball end of the string. You're going to push it through here. And the only thing you have to make sure is that there's little slots. These are the saddles. Just make sure that the string is actually in that saddle before you fully tighten it, because if it gets caught on the side, something along those lines right there is a good possibility you're going to break the string, especially on your high E string. Pack-wise, what am I using on this? I actually got a hybrid pack. I will go ahead and show you what it is. These are actually 9s, so let's see here. Come on, camera. So this is like you have 10s on your bottom strings. Your 3 bottom strings are a little bit heavier, and then your 3 top strings are kind of like having 9s. So what we're going to do here, let's see if I can get this at a good angle. And for starters, all you need to do is, let me get this on camera. It's going to be hard to get it on camera. Do this with one hand. I'm already losing it. All right, we're putting the camera down. Let's see here. There we go. So each tuner has a hole in it. So all you need to do, put the string through the hole and just fish it all the way through. The reason I have all of these other strings on and haven't cut them yet is because when you do set up a guitar, it is very important to leave all the strings alone. And the reason you want to leave all the strings alone is because 9 out of 10, you're going to have to unwind them a little bit, wind them again. A couple of my strings I've had to rewind. I do restring my guitars maybe once a year. They say if you're an active player, you only have one instrument, you should be changing them like every 3 months. I don't do that. I have a bunch of different guitars. Most of the time, I keep them in cases, minus a few that hang on my wall. And I don't really have acidic sweat. Some people have acidic sweat, eats away at the strings, in which case you need to replace them more. I would recommend Elixir strings for those of you that have some sweaty palms. Also, good idea to wash your hands before you start messing with your guitar, playing with your guitar, things along those lines. I also recommend never cutting the strings because this is wood, it moves, doesn't like massive changes in pressure. You cut all the strings at the same time. It's not really going to hurt anything, but you bring up more chances for finish checking. Cracks, bad things can happen if you don't do it. So I always recommend taking one string off at a time, or if you are going to take all the strings off at the same time, unwind them. Don't just snap them off. Use a winder. I know it's a pain, but that's what you got to do. You got to unwind the strings so that way you don't put too much strain on the neck and then have to do either a major adjustment or you mess up your neck in the process. This is also a good time when you have the old strings on. Clean the fretboard up. Put a little bit of oil on there. Maybe, shine up your frets a little bit. A good thing to use for your frets if you don't want to go out and purchase some sort of fret thing or use steel wool because just keep in mind, if you use steel wool on your frets, you need to tape all the electronics off on your guitar, because these are magnetic. The steel wool shards will get in there, and you are never going to get them out if they get in your pickups, because they're tiny and it can mess a lot of stuff up. I'm kind of against steel wool. A lot of people use it. A lot of people swear by it. Not my cup of tea, not my personal preference. So I am going to try to get in here as close to I can. We got a glare. Let's see, I also don't want my camera to fall, ideally. So you can string this just the way it is if you like it this way. What I like to do is, I'll show you, I take the string, I go under and then over, and I make it tight like so. When you do this, you obviously, unlike what I just did, need to undo it, you want to have a little bit of string here. The amount of wraps, also, I mean, it doesn't 100% matter, but typically you're looking for 2 to 3 full winds in the process of doing this. So I'm just making sure I have plenty of extra string here. Definitely have too much, so I'm going to actually pull this up a little bit farther. See what we're dealing with here. This is also harder because this string has already been wound, so more susceptible to breaking. I'm doing this for educational purposes, and if I have to buy another 9 string for $1 at my local shop, whatever. My local guy's name is Dave. He is a decent dude. Unfortunately, I don't really promote him on the channel. The reason I don't do that is because I don't really want you guys knowing where I live. And if I tell you the location of his store, he doesn't sell stuff online anyway, so it really doesn't matter all that much. And we're just going to take my string winder, and what you want to do is you have the first wrap go around the top of the string. It may be hard to pick up on the GoPro. And then you fish that out. This is going to get in the way anyway. And then after the first wrap goes around the top part of the string, rest of them are going to go underneath it. And I am just going to go ahead here and windy, 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 windy. Still going, still going. There we go. And then, yet again, we're checking back here, confirming that, in fact, yes, this is through the saddle, not on either sides of the saddle. And then we can go ahead and inspect this. Make sure the string, move the string winder out of the way to where I want it. And yes, so the reason I do it this way is because when you do the under-over method, there's a billion different ways you can string a guitar. But with that particular method, it kind of locks the string in place. It's not locking tuners. So if you have locking tuners, you are not going to worry about this. That's a different way to do guitar strings as well. I'm going to put this down so I stop shaking you around while I'm talking. And what it does when you wrap it around the top, wrap it around the bottom, it kind of pinches the string in there. So the string has, you know, it's got a piece of the string on top of it, piece of the string underneath it, and it kind of sandwiches it together. So there's less chance for slippage during playing, during tuning. You know, when you're tuning and you hear that little pinch, that means the string is slipping a little bit in the slot itself. But technically, you don't have to do that. You can string it whatever way you want. That is my personal preference. That is how I string up every single guitar I own, unless I'm in a hurry and I'm lazy. Like if I know I need to do a string change real quick, I got a show coming up or something, don't have a lot of time, I haven't played out in forever personally, then I'll go ahead and do it the lazy way. Because if you do it the other way, where you don't do the over-under method and you just have it all the way regular, then, as I said, you get more chance for slippage, not the biggest deal. So I'll show you what the finished product looks like. We'll get a nice close-up here. So if you can tell, the string is between itself. So what that means is, if I can get a good angle, so right here is the string. If I do this, you can see string on top, string on bottom, and each of these have like 2 or 3 wraps. I think all these are about 3. There's no real science for getting the correct amount of wrappings on a guitar. I've tried where they say, oh, you take the length from here to here, and that's the extra length you did it. Well, I did that with this guy, and as you can see, I had to restring this because I had like 7 wraps on it. You don't want to double wrap your strings either. That can also mess with your tuning stability, mess with your tuners, but these are all going to get cut off soon enough once I fully set up this guitar. This guitar did have 9s on it, regular plain 9s, so it goes 9 to 42. Now it's 9 to 46. So I did have to tweak the truss rod a little bit, just tighten it a tiny amount up here. I got my nut checked out as well. I did have to do the super glue method in this because this was actually, I thought it was too low. Turns out it wasn't too low, it was fine. I just needed a little bit thicker gauge strings. I was playing too rough. I'm out of practice, I'll be honest, guys. I am a little bit out of practice. Haven't been consistently practicing in a long time. Love talking about guitars, love buy, selling, and trading guitars. But making me actually play consistently all the time doesn't happen. And then you get stuck where, like, I messed this up initially with the setup, so I wanted somebody else to look at it. Found out what I was doing was correct. Just, you know, kind of bumming myself out because I have 2 guitars. This guitar I did it at the same time as the Gibson Les Paul, which probably was not a smart idea because then I have my 2 main players out for the count. Another thing that I wanted to tell you is this is the old B string. This is an 11. These are good. Different string gauges are good to keep around if you do not have the tools to measure, you know, like you don't have a string gauge, things along those lines, because these strings are exactly that amount of millimeters, and an 11 is going to be really great for neck relief right at your 7th and 8th fret. You're going to put it right there as long as it slides around a little bit. If it slides around a lot, you have too much neck relief. If it's super tight, doesn't move, you need to adjust it a tiny bit, loosen it up. So I think that's where I'm just going to end this video. For my comparison video, I think, unfortunately, might be slightly shot. And the reason that may be slightly shot is because I thought I filmed myself playing this with the old strings, and unfortunately I didn't. Eventually I'm going to have to change the strings again on this, so this may set on the back burner. The strings I had on this before were like a year plus old. You could tell they were getting old because where all the frets were, they had black dots just from wearing out. They were dusty, gross, and dirty. So new strings, this thing's going to sound great. I'm going to have to do my pickup height again. I think I need to lower my bridge again too, because I had to adjust the truss rod. But we'll get this thing up and running. If anything, I can probably just do a demo or something. But that video is on the back burner. So this is kind of part 2 of this series of setting up your guitar, stringing it. Eventually, I'll probably show you how to clean the frets as well, along with possibly conditioning the fretboard. I think I did that in another video. That was the wax video on my old channel. I got to pull that over to the new channel as well. But I want to show you like every single aspect of setting up a guitar, making it play the proper way, and what you can do to make it play better if you're having, you know, really hard time playing your guitar, if it feels like it's fighting you every step of the way. So that's where I'm going to end it. Thank you for watching. My name is Steve Gray. This is Gray's Guitars. Hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, leave a like, and comment down below what you'd like me to do for future videos. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a good one.